You ever have a day where the universe decides to check if you remember who you really are? Yeah, that was me, sitting in a first-class seat on Skyline Air, sipping burnt coffee, minding my business in jeans and a hoodie, when the whole charade came crashing down, one privileged whisper at a time. Funny thing, 72 hours earlier, I was the reason Skyline Air could even keep those blue leather seats polished. But on that Tuesday, I was just another black man in the wrong part of the plane. Or so they thought. Let me back up a sec, because this isn't just about a flight gone sideways. This is about how a single moment of ignorance can end an entire legacy. I'm Marcus Thompson, CEO of Aero Vantage Holdings, and for a decade, I built my empire from charter flights to controlling nearly half of America's air travel. But if you saw me that morning at Atlanta Airport, old sneakers, faded jeans, backpack over one shoulder, you'd never guess I had more jets than most airlines have pilots. That's the point. Once a month, I ditch the suits and go incognito, booking a random commercial flight just to remember where I came from and to see how my partners are treating the folks who keep them in business. Skyline Air was up next on my checklist. They'd served the country for 37 years, had contracts with my companies worth enough to make or break them. But I needed to see with my own eyes if their customer service lived up to the pitch. So there I was, seat 1A, reviewing merger docs on my tray table, watching numbers that meant jobs, growth, futures not just for me, but for thousands of families. The first-class section was almost empty, except for Margaret Whitfield, the senator's wife holding court in seat 3A, sparkling with diamonds and attitude, going on about her charity gala like she was royalty. Her voice filled the cabin, but I kept my head down. No need to make a scene yet. Then came Jessica, the flight attendant. She clocked me the minute I sat down. I could see it in her eyes, the gears turning, the checklist firing off. Something about me didn't fit her mental image of a first-class passenger. She whispered to her colleague, glancing my way. I pretended not to notice, ordered my coffee, and tried to focus on work. But you know how it is sometimes, ignoring the problem just lets it fester. 15 minutes before takeoff, the captain announced a weather delay. Margaret got restless, waved over Jessica, and in her syrupy, sweet southern drawl, started whispering about that man up front. She was uncomfortable. She paid for a premium experience, not to sit near someone who looked like he belonged in coach. Her words, not mine. Jessica nodded, all nerves, then made her move. She walked over, stiff as a board, and told Mel out enough for the whole cabin to hear that there had been a seating error and I'd need to move to economy. I showed her my boarding pass, clearly marked 1A, but she insisted. I explained, calmly as I could, that I booked this seat for a reason, and I had important business to handle. But she was done listening. If you don't comply, she warned, I'll have to call security. The temperature in that cabin dropped about 10 degrees. I could feel every eye in first class, some waiting for a show, others wishing they could disappear. Margaret watched, phone in hand, ready to film if I acted up. My skin crawled with that old familiar sting, a mix of shame and anger I thought I'd outgrown. But you know what? Money, power, respect, they can't always protect you from people who only see the color of your skin. So I asked, politely, to speak with the captain. Jessica shut that down hard. Move now, or I'll call airport security. And just like that, I went from anonymous businessman to disruptive passenger. She hit the intercom. Security to gate B12. That's all it took. 2 officers showed up, big, serious guys, probably used to dealing with real trouble, not someone with a first-class boarding pass and spreadsheets worth more than their annual salary. They didn't even look at my ticket. Sir, you need to come with us. I tried to explain, kept my voice low, hoping someone would listen. No dice. One of them grabbed my arm tight enough to leave a mark and gave me a choice. Walk or be carried. That's how it went down. Whole thing caught on half a dozen phones, passengers whispering, some shaking their heads, others pretending not to see. They marched me out in front of everyone, my business docs spilling everywhere. At the gate, the supervisor offered hollow apologies, but still suggested maybe next time I dress more appropriately for first class. You know what I mean? That was the cherry on top. I gathered my things, asked for a refund and a full incident report, then sat in that cold, empty gate, piecing together what had just happened. Now, here's the twist they never saw coming. I didn't just walk away angry, I made a few calls. My assistant was already fielding messages from partners who'd seen the viral videos, while I drafted a statement for my legal team. By the time I left the terminal, Skyline Air's social media team was in meltdown mode, their execs scrambling to figure out how to put out a fire that was already an inferno. See, when you hold the contracts that keep an airline afloat, you don't need to shout or threaten. You just let the numbers do the talking. My lawyers found every clause. Every loophole discrimination was more than enough to trigger mass terminations of our deals. Skyline, though, tried everything calls flowers, even offering me controlling interest, but I was done playing nice. I called a press conference and told the world what happened in detail so everyone could see what routine discrimination looks like from the inside out. By the end of the week, Skyline Air was dead and the water stock down 80%, routes canceled, corporate clients running for the exits, employees quitting in droves. Even Margaret Whitfield's husband lost his Senate seat after her smug celebration of my removal became a national meme. Jessica Collins, the flight attendant, became the face of workplace bias. Out of a job, publicly disgraced, her interviews digging the hole deeper every time she blamed my behavior for the whole mess. But here's what nobody expected. I didn't buy their dying airline. I waited for the bankruptcy, then cherry-picked the best assets, rebuilt a new company on my terms. Thompson Airways hired back folks who showed real integrity, paid for anti-discrimination training, and turned into the most profitable, respected airline in America. Record satisfaction, record diversity, the works. The ones who caused the mess? They faced their own reckonings. Margaret, court-ordered community service. David Hamilton, the ex-CEO, driving rideshare cars. Jessica, after hitting rock bottom, started speaking out against bias, helping others see what she couldn't that day in first class. 6 months later, I hung a bronze plaque in our lobby reminding everyone that dignity isn't optional and equality is good business. Our story became required reading in business schools. The Thompson Act made anti-discrimination training law, and my company built from the ashes of someone else's arrogance set the standard for how things ought to be. So, here's the real question. Was my response over the top, or exactly what was needed? Should a single moment of bigotry cost thousands of jobs, billions in value, and an entire corporate legacy? Or did it finally force an industry and a country to wake up and take responsibility? You tell me. Drop your thoughts below. Do you think justice was served, or did I go too far? And if you've ever been in my shoes quiet, minding your own business, only to get slapped down by prejudice, your story matters too. Hit like, subscribe, and share this with anyone who needs reminding that sometimes the best revenge isn't loud, it's building something better where the old system used to be. Thanks for listening. And next time you see someone who doesn't look the part, maybe think twice before deciding where they belong. Sometimes the quiet ones have the power to change the world.